Hi, this is Trey Passer. Welcome to my review of Atomic Blonde. I went to see it yesterday. This movie stars Charlize Theron, John Goodman, James McAvoy, Sofia Boutella, and I believe Toby Jones is in this as well. And this story takes place during the period just before the fall of the Berlin Wall. And Charlize Theron plays an undercover agent who has to go to Berlin to retrieve a list of all these agents that they don't want to fall into the enemy hands. And James McAvoy plays her local contact, and she's a British agent. Okay, now, this is one of my most anticipated movies for this year. I love Charlize Theron. I thought she killed it in Mad Max movie. And I was looking forward to this. And this was, of course, directed by one of the directors who directed John Wick, which is a movie which I love. And so I was looking forward to this very well, and plus the actors involved. Okay, and from all the trailers, it looked great from what I saw of all the trailers. But ultimately, this movie was a disappointment to me. This movie is almost 2 hours long, and it felt like they could cut about maybe 15 minutes out of it because there were long periods of time where nothing was happening before you got to the violence and the action in the movie, which is plenty, and that doesn't bother me. I love action and violence, okay? And Charlize Theron kicked ass as this agent, but there were long periods of time where nothing was happening, and you were trying to figure out what was going to happen. Okay, but halfway through the movie, I did figure out what was going to happen, and sure enough, it did happen. The movie played out exactly the way I thought it was going to play out. And again, what my main problem with the movie was more tell than show, especially in the beginning part of the movie. It was like a lot of, like her character was too cool for school. Like she's drinking the drinks, got the cigarette dangling from her mouth. She's, the latest fashion. She's, there's a lot of, of telling and just not, showing how a badass she was. And the way they framed the story is not in a linear fashion. It's kind of told with, well, I don't want to spoil that part of it, but I didn't like the way the story was presented. Okay. I think it would have been a lot better. It's just a linear story, okay? And you understand what I'm talking about when you watch the movie, okay? And like I said, about halfway through, I did predict how it was going to go, and sure enough, it did go that way. And ultimately, I think it's the fault of the director and the script writer, ultimately, that doomed this movie. I know this movie is based on a comic book, a graphic novel, I think, and I never read that, so I don't know how accurate it is to that. But again, they could have cut 15 minutes out of this movie, and I would have probably, cut all the dead parts out of it to speed up the action and make it flow better. And I think it would have flowed better, okay? But ultimately, it's a disappointment to me, okay? And it's not the actor's fault. It's, like I said, I think it's the script writer and the director, the way this movie was edited, okay? Like I said, they could have cut 15 minutes out of this and sped everything up, and it would have, I think it would have flowed a lot better. But as far as the violence is concerned, it's there in spades. There's a particular sequence that you see in the trailers that's in this movie that goes on and on, and it's intense. I mean, that scene is intense. I give them props for that. I give Charlize Theron and the actors involved and the stunt people credit for that. But ultimately, this story was a disappointment, and maybe the director of John Wick needed the other director to balance him out. But this movie, I know he's doing Deadpool 2, so hopefully, well, Ryan Reynolds has big influence on that, so I'm not worried about that. But this movie was a disappointment. It didn't live up to the hype, basically. So ultimately, I'm going to give it a 6.8, and that's mostly because of the actors involved, okay, and the violence, which was great, but the storytelling and the story was cliche. I mean, they had a lot of 80s music in there, which was okay, and after a while, it got to be annoying, some of the music. Okay, I'll be perfectly honest with you, but ultimately, the story was a disappointment to me. Okay, so again, a 6.8 for me. Anyway, let me know what you think of Atomic Blonde. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below, and if you like this review, please hit the subscribe button down below. I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram down there, as well as my other channel, Paul's Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. And this is Trey Passer saying so long and take care.